Hello, I suppose you're wondering why I'm wearing a helmet, but I'm not sure if you're aware of this or not. There is a pretty large event that is sweeping the globe. It's only just got here to Australia, and it seems like everyone else has been dealing with it for some time. And of course, I'm referring to Ellen DeGeneres is quite mean. So, thank you to the news for bringing that to my attention. It's a shame it couldn't have been nearer to the top of the page, and I could have prepared my family a bit earlier. At any rate, I thought the best thing to do would be to go into all of my knives. Pocket knives, that is. I'm going to go through, I've kind of broken up all the folders I've got, and I'm going to talk to you about them and give quick sort of rundown reviews of them as I go through them. So, does that sound like an okay time? I think it does. So let's get into it. I might just take this off now. I feel safe in the knife lab. I don't think Ellen's going to get me in here. I'd like to see her try. Now, starting off with these three. Now, I have still stuck with my three main EDC knife system. But there is a slight, I guess, something that I'll bring in as well. So these three, the Spidey Chef, the Tutera Madam, and the Spidey Police 4 are the three knives that I like the most, and they're the ones I consider my stayers. So the Police 4 is a large knife made with K390 steel. This is a true race car of a knife. It really is. It's a knife too boring for even non-steel enthusiasts. This is a knife made for steel guys. It's a big old piece of K390 on a pretty dull platform, let's be honest. But this isn't a common steel, and it's really fun to have it, and I get a lot of joy out of having a blade in this stuff because it lasts for a good long time. It sharpens up really well to a really, really sharp edge. Probably could be my favourite knife steel, even though it's definitely not a perfect knife steel. Could be my favourite for reasons. The Tutera Madam is what I'd commonly describe as the best overall EDC pocket knife for someone who's a knife guy, who's happy to spend a little bit of extra and maybe weight a little bit of extra as well. If not, well, I'll probably get to that one later. But this is 20 CV steel, really nice, thin grind, just about everything done right on it in my opinion. It's a liner lock. It's for light to sort of mid-use, probably still lighter use. It's just a great combination of elements. You can get them in a few different colours and all that sort of thing now, but I really like my grey one. And thank you so much to Brian for sending this one along, Brian. It really did help me out because this one, it's staying. Then lastly, of course, is the Spidey Chef. Really, again, sort of similar to the Adam, I just think the Spidey Chef is such a home run. It's not quite as slicey, it's not quite as, dynamic and fun. The steel isn't quite as enjoyable to me as the K390, but it's just such a solid choice, solid performer. Again, if you are a knife guy and you're happy to spend a little bit of extra and you want just maybe the one knife, then this is a great one to stop by on. So the Spidey Chef, the Tutera Madam, and the Police 4 form my core 3 EDC knives even still. But then moving past them, I must give a nod to the Skillet CX, which I still do get out from time to time. It's just not quite a knife, it's more of a multi-tool and knife, but it's got a 154 cm blade, really good ergonomics for a knife still, and of course got a set of pliers and a screwdriver on there as well. I usually carry this closed on a belt loop, and sometimes I'll carry it in addition to my Tutera Madam. We'll just hook it on my pants down here, and there it sits, and there it shall sit for the rest of the video. Moving on to the next group, these are sort of I guess they're like my support EDC. They're my lenders, or my maybe reference knives. Not really. They're knives that I kind of don't quite know what to do with. These are knives that are all great, but I simply don't carry them enough to be in my main rotation, so to speak. So we'll start off at the front. This is this 20 CV buck. I've actually developed a real affinity for the Buck 110 platform since I've been carrying it. I know, right? I'd like to tease it because the whole thing is slightly hilarious. There is a lot of satire to be had at the expense of really serious old mountain dudes who just talk these massive, long, rambling comments about Buck 110s. But there is something to it. This is definitely the Millennial edition. They've even Chris even got one of these thumb studs on it. The good guy got it from beforehand. But 20 CV steel, nickel silver, and I think rosewood. Really nice example of it. It's still heavy. It's still definitely not an easy clipping to your pocket knife, but it's a great blade. Brad from Mild Mannered EDC sent me this guy a while back. A lot of these knives were gifts, and that's why they stick around, but this is a great budget knife. Probably one of the best budget knives. For me anyway, I love a slim knife. It's in 14C28 end steel. It's a front flipper that, once you get the hang of it again, I don't really use too many front flippers, opens really, really well. Love the really vibrant blue colouring as well. It's almost blurple, but it's definitely still on the side of blue, I would say. Really good thin profile, great action, overall really well done build and everything. They make this in a few different steels. I think they do an M390 version and N690 version as well. So, excellent knife. Really, really recommend the real steel. What's this one? The G5 Metamorph. There you go. Moving on, this one, Stu got me this. This was it is a GEC farm and field tool. It's my one real traditional knife that I still carry occasionally, and I really recommend it. It's one of the lesser fanciness GECs, so it's not like the bone-handled T-Dooch ones or anything like that. Just a plain old GEC, but really well done. Really simple, basic rear backlock, 1095 steel, super thin and slicey. It's got everything you like about an old-fashioned knife. The plastic handles are a bit of a modern take, I guess, but I like orange, so really well done blade there. This one here, the Quiet Carry. Nick sent me this one to have mainly look at the steel and I guess to do a review on it. I'm still working on a review, but I did think at start it might make its way into my 3, but it is just a little bit too annoying or just not as fluid to open and deploy as a knife needs to be to get into these, unless it's got something else really going on with it. Vanax is a great steel, but really, you can open it like that. It's got a weak detent, and the hole isn't as nice to use as a spider hole, because yeah, sure, the police isn't as, the police isn't a super fun flippy opening knife either, but you can give it a bit of that quite easily as well. Whereas this guy here, the hole is just an odd shape. Hole's just an odd shape. And yeah, the detent's weak. The screws I can see are really soft as well. Nick's done a disassembly, and you can tell because they've got a bit of wear around them already. So it's basically a waterproof knife, and Vanax is probably the best knife steel you can get at the moment on a folder from a production company at least. So it's definitely got stuff going for it, but I wouldn't pay $325 for it. Maybe I just reviewed the knife. Who knows? Whoops. The Protec Cambria is one that is really almost in that upper 3 EDC as well. It's just got a slightly too specific handle for my larger hand. If my hand was a little bit smaller, this would be up there with the Tutera Madam. It's just a complete home run for me personally. If you've got mid to large size hands, I would say I'm just in the large size hands bracket. But mid to large size, I reckon there's a lot to love with the Protec Cambria. 154 cm steel, button lock, super fun, huh? And good pocket clip. Basically everything else about it is really good, as long as you're of course happy with the looks. There you go. Now moving on, the Benchmade bug out. I'm sort of wondering what to do with the bug out. I was planning on getting an M4 version, but the way the economy is going at the moment, I am not buying a whole bunch of extra knives and that sort of stuff. I'm kind of trying to chill a little bit. I feel a bit ostentatious buying knives when who knows what is going to happen. With, not so much me and Teresa are safe, like money-wise, we've got stable jobs, but just friends and family and stuff, I can see me feeling very foolish for buying knives when I could have gifted that money away to people who needed it a bit more, like in my inner circle. So I, just without ranting on too much about things, that is where I'm thinking. So the M4 bug out is going to be on hold until I can spend with confidence once again. But of course the bug out 3V version, this is the first production run with the very soft 3V steel. I actually don't mind the knife too bad. It's actually not a bad blade at all. I don't love sharpening a tanto, that's for sure. I prefer to just use my Tormek to sharpen tantos, so that's what I'll be doing with this one, using my Tormek, because you can just quite easily lock it in. It's a single press with the Tormek there, rather than the KME having to get it just right. Overall though, it's certainly not a bad Benchmade. I'm liking the look of the M4 one. I don't like the look of the glass breaker. I think glass breakers on knives are dumb, and it looks like it's going to, as this even does, stick into the palm of your hand when you deploy the lock. So we'll see. Last of all is the Buck Marksman. A knife that's just a little bit too edgy and tactical for me to carry as an EDC choice every day, but a knife I love and really one of my favourites. 154 cm, really done well in a hollow ground Tanto blade. Then the tip of the Tanto is flat ground. Really great design on a knife. I love the strap lock. It is very snappy and fun to use. Up there with kind of the Protec button lock is like a really fun sort of fidgety deployer. The aluminium handles are great. I like most things about this knife. It's a little bit brickish or something. Something stops me from carrying it as much. That's all I can give you on it. But that's what's going on. So yeah, those are sort of my backup style knives that are all great. And yeah, just sort of never quite make it into the pocket as much as perhaps my main three do. Moving on, we've got my reference standards. And as a YouTube knife reviewer, which is of course a very well respected role in the community, I have a few blades that I like to compare to other blades, and they're these ones as follows. They are, lay them all out first. Yeah, that's probably it. Right, it's got a Rat 2, Ontario Rat 2, this is in D2. I've messed with the edge a lot on this one, but it's still great for size comparisons, and the Rat 2 is generally a great knife even still if you've got a smaller hand. If you have a bigger hand, just a little bit too small, it gets a bit cramped here sometimes, that's all. The Buck 110, this is good so people can see it in its full clip point glory. This is the 420 HC version. Just yeah, for size comparisons only, and generally for some sharpening videos, Uncle Randy videos, all that good stuff. Paramilitary 2, this was sent to me by a viewer. It's been sharpened like crazy, you can see how far up it's retreated. That was mainly from the previous owner, but I've done a bit of edge dickery with it as well. S110V is a great steel to test out because it really is one of the best steels on the market at the moment, and you almost take it for granted at this point because it's so widely available thanks to Spidey. But if S110V holds up and compares well to another steel, then that other steel is very, very good. So, but also great for size comparisons because it's probably one of the most popular EDC knives out there. Then there's the Spidey Delica. Do I need to say much more about the Delica? This is the super gold version with a laminated super gold blade, black handles, golden backspacer there. I tried to sell it once, but the buyer didn't like the off-centered, which is endemic of Delicas from Japan. What does my other Delica look like? It's the same. So yeah, that's just the FRN thing, and so I just kept it as a display model, I guess. It's a fine knife for EDC, but I feel like between like the American Lawman, which I'll show you in a second, the Spidey Chef, there's lots of other sort of, even the Rat 2, there's often lots of better priced basic EDC knives. And then the Open L, most people sort of know how big an Open L is. Most people have had an Open L. They're great blades for slicing, great food knives, and just great. You know, this is number 8, probably the most widely distributed one, maybe the number 9. I don't know. Yeah, great for a comparison as well. So I use that. Really lightweight, good knife. Really recommend the Open L. One of the standards, I would say. If you don't have much money to spend on a knife, as I always say, get this and a Halter Force GK. You got all your needs met. Now, some old retired knives. So we've got the old green Delica. This is just a green Spidey Delica that's been over sharpened. That's that. Got the American Lawman, which I've over sharpened as well. I've ruined the, I cringe when I look at it, but great knife. I do intend on getting a good new American Lawman once again. This is an XHP Lawman. It's a shame they don't make these anymore because I love that steel, but they do a perfectly serviceable S35 VN American Lawman. This is the knife that I always say, if you're just going to get a knife for a person who just wants to know they've got a good knife and never think about it again, then American Lawman is your knife. I feel like I'm neutral with cold steel. I did the Securex sheath video yesterday, and I think I spruiked the American Lawman enough that I've sold more than a few for them not to hate me too much for whenever I give them a bit of a wrestle up for being a bit silly or having a little bit of a thing like that, which I personally, again, for the record, don't feel like it's an issue, but there you go. Right. The Alma Falcon. This is also a bit of a burnt out old knife. I've just kind of over sharpened this one. The blades crept up a little bit. I still send my wife out with it from time to time. She uses it as a food knife. I think there's even a bit of food residue on there. even still. But Alma Falcon, great lightweight knife. It's just expensive though. AUS 8 micarta for like $150 is absolutely mad. So I can't really recommend them as good value pieces, but I love the aesthetic and how they look and how they use. So there you go. Two great budget knives that I sort of have as, you know, loaners or giveaways or anything like that. My father-in-law is often after a new knife. He uses a knife probably harder than I've ever used a knife. He works at a winery, cuts open bags of grape mark and, you know, quite heavy industrial use. So every now and then I'll upgrade him with a new knife. He has my old Pilard. Before that he had the Kaiser Vanguard Vigor, I think it was. No, the Kaiser, yeah, V3 Vigor. These are probably his next two. Crits only along this one, the Dozier. Great budget knife, real Delica, sort of entry-level competitor. A little bit rougher than a Delica. The grind on this one, for example, it's a little bit kind of wavy and wonky, but the Dozier is great. Can't really knock it for the price, like 30 or so US dollars. And then this Pi Large, the CRKT Large Pilar, the flipper version, with this one's 8CR14 MOV steel. Pretty average steel, but pretty nice knife pattern and well-designed knife. Really fits the hand snugly, can do all sorts of cuts and hard work with it, so really good knife, the CRKT Pi Large. And lastly, there's an odd little knife here that I've also got on hand. This is a chisel-pointed CRKT Graham knife. It is very interesting, got a few real oddnesses to it. I never like knives with a lock, so you can lock the lock closed with this back bar here. So you can lock it, shut or open, one of the two things. Oh, I can't even remember. You know what? I can't even remember what that lock is for. There you go. You can lock it so you can't unlock the knife. So it's supposed to be extra strong. And I guess being a chisel knife, they might think people are gonna, I don't know. But again, one of those superfluous features that I don't use. They've done the handle quite nice, except they've done the clip horribly. The clip sits right in the back of your hand and pokes you right where your pinky is. So really dumb clip. I like the concept of it, but dumb. Clip. Everything else about it's pretty okay, except the blade grind's a bit wavy. It's 8CR13 CRKT, a bit more of an experiment than anything, but something to be said for chisel knives. There is something to them that isn't as dumb as they seem. I reckon chisel knives make more sense than cleaver knives on everything, for example, but there you go. So that's the state of it. So apart from my like real odd wonky knives that are all in my box there, which are probably just a bit too dull to go through, they're all kind of nameless Chinese brand knives or just completely worn out knives. That's about my folding knife collection at the moment. Hope you've enjoyed. I'll see you in the next video and stay happy and healthy out there, my friends. Bye bye.